Welcome to Perspective, and in this week's Perspective, we discuss matters road safety and in the wake of 14 lives lost earlier today, and plus the shocking statistics. Looking at the statistics, we have at the moment 453 fatalities being pedestrians and 410 during the same time last year. The worrying. The total is 1,192 since the beginning of this year. And last year, same time, it was 1,054. So this year, more people have died as a result of road carnage. And to help us discuss this matter, I've joined in studio by two gentlemen. In my immediate left is David Kiarie, who is the chairman of the Road Safety Association of Kenya.
Yes, thank you.
And on my extreme left, we have Simon Kimutai, who is the chairman of the Matatu Owners Association. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for making time.
Thank you.
Let's start with today. 14 lives lost. It's quite tragic. But also, something else has happened. The NTSA has revoked the driving license of the two drivers, and also suspended the Grand Bus Services SACCO license. Mr. Kimutai, is this a knee-jerk reaction or?
Well, it's very unfortunate that we have to lose lives at times when it can be avoidable.
Yes.
In Kenya, over 80% of road crashes are attributed to carelessness. And of course, something that is careless can be put to stand in a good position. And it's very unfortunate. My condolences to those who are affected. And to those who are hurt, we say sorry, we wish them a quick recovery. We've said so many times, there are very many loopholes of things that are not right, especially in the beginning of probably being trained to be as a driver. And I think policy also issues have got to be looked at very closely. You've asked me a question. Let me directly answer the question. Of course, definitely, there must have been an element of carelessness. And for revoking the driver's license, I don't think is enough. I think maybe he'll be arraigned in court for the same. And of course, one of them could have caused the accident, because it's normally very rare to find two drivers causing an accident. So if it is revoking of the two drivers, could be to give way in investigating who was on the wrong. Yes. But what I always disagree with is suspending the operating license of an organization, a bus company that could be, if they have 100 buses, so you stop 100 buses. That is where we differ with National Transport and Safety Authority all the time. Every case has got to be investigated independently for the purposes of knowing what could have happened. But you could be having, if there are 100 buses, 90 very good drivers, and 10 terrible drivers. But you cannot use one blow to punish the whole company for an accident that has been caused by an individual. Well, this is a debate that needs to be put forth and probably see what is the best way to elevate this.
Mr. Kiarie, was this the right call for the government by NTSA?
Let me say it is not the right, because when an accident occurs and we have lost people on our roads,
yes,
I don't think it is very right to just judge and say you have cancelled their licenses, you have cancelled the operator. Meaning that, because you see, like an operator, they may be having many buses, and maybe that driver caused that accident, but other drivers have not caused the accident. So sometimes it is important, if we can go deep and get the real cause of the accident. First of all, we should know what happened to that accident. What was the cause? The owner of the SACCO or the company, because sometimes we have realized that companies, they don't care. All what they want to do is make money. But it is easy to get that if we can subject some of their vehicles to the inspection and realize that maybe they have not adhered to the law. That time we can we can ban the licenses. But at this time, I think it was too early for them to take that action.
Yeah. Mr. Kimutai, going back to you, what is the status of our roads as we speak? Because bearing in mind all these accidents, there are causes, sometimes human error, sometimes mechanical problems, sometimes bad roads. What's the situation at the moment?
Yeah, one thing that I would say is that as the country develops, there is expansion in everything.
Yes.
You'll find that the population of vehicles last year is not as they are now. So the road is it's congested.
Yes.
And there's bound to be some kind of carelessness. And when one happens, we really can't compare ourselves like 10 years ago and now. But we should try and probably ensure that the roads are safe generally. Yeah. As we say, the attribution was carelessness. And carelessness could be speed, could be, fatigue, could also be not being watchful, distracted by a phone, and some of these things that can be avoided. Yes. I think this is where we need to zero in. And one other factor that really needs to be looked at is the training of drivers. There is a new curriculum that was produced by National Transport and Safety Authority. And you'll find that about 90% of drivers who leave driving schools are half-baked. And the strength of issuing a PSV license by a National Transport and Safety Authority is the age of the license, not the experience. If you have a 4-year-old license, you will be licensed to drive a Matatu, irrespective of whether you know how to drive or not. That's where the problem is. Public transport is always carrying passengers to its capacity. And this requires special training. A special training that, because passengers are heavy. It's not like, a vehicle owned and driven by an individual, his own vehicle. So there must be, I have called for the government to invest in a training facility that will ensure that anybody who wants to go drive PSV have got to be taken there for training and classification. You know very well that you can own a license and might not know how to drive. That's a fact in Kenya. Yes. So there's need to train, and there is need for the government to pay attention. This is the economic facilitator. Without transport in any economy, there can't be growth. So the government has got to invest and show interest. Look at them. There is Bandari. There is for airways. They are there. The training school, even railway training school is there. But we have nothing for the road. Yes. So there must be institutions set, because when you look at the deaths on our road, in a year you talk of over 3,000, and those are instant deaths on a crash. We don't know those who die after the accident. So you can imagine, it's like a whole institution, a big training facility that has over 3,000 dead at once in a year. So there needs to be a lot of attention and conversation around that subject.
Well, Kiarie, you are the chairman of the Kenya Road Safety Association. Looking at these statistics compared to last year, they just keep adding 453 compared to 410, 125 to 110. And I remember the CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, came up with stringent measures on the roads to curb road carnage. What is the situation at the moment?
I want to say that they were not stringent. Okay. It was only that particular time. Because if you remember, during the festive time, this was during the Christmas time, there was a lot of even police on the road and all this, and there was a lot of, they really did good work. Yes. But after that, everything went back haywire. Yes. There's nothing, vehicles are going the way they want, there's nobody on the road this time. But today, because that accident happened and we lost 14 people, from tomorrow, you'll see vehicles arrested on the road. They will start doing the crackdowns. Yes. They only come when there's an accident. So there's nothing which has happened. If you go back to that
the statistics.
It will tell you very clearly. We have done so many changes. We removed NTSA from transport. We took it to interior. We have done so many, but they are not working. We have removed NTSA from the road. We have put police, but nothing is working because people are not serious. We have to be serious. First of all,
Yes.
I want to concur with him, saying that we have a problem in our driving schools. We must begin there. We have a problem. Forget about even the PSV drivers.
Yes.
Even these public vehicles. How do these people get the licenses?
Yes.
Today you can get that license in your house. No proper training. What do you expect back on our roads? If we don't have competent drivers, this is exactly what we shall be getting. Today, we only talk of PSV. But if you check on that list,
Yes.
you realize that PSV, the private vehicles
Yes.
have also increased. Many people are dying. Pedestrians are dying.
Yes.
There are so many things we are supposed to do. Not only focusing on the PSVs only.
Yes.
Now we should start focusing on everything to do on our roads.
Yes.
Let's think of our pedestrians. Let's think of these schools. I remember when our CS came, CS Matiangi, he once talked about driving license, stringent measures to be taken. What is going on this time? Licenses are still. You can get that license when you are asleep. You are not even a driver. As long as you have the money, the license will be brought. So even government, they must be serious with what they are doing. Not coming with the very stringent measures, but within 3 months, this game is over. So from tomorrow, because we lost these 14 people, which is it's sad, very sad.
Yes.
But tomorrow, you'll see police all over the road. Crackdowns, all over, for what? When something has happened.
Okay, Mr. Kimutai, perhaps to add on that, do you concur with David that the rules, the stringent rules, were just for a few days, and then we went back to our old days, bearing in mind the statistics are shocking?
You know what is happening?
Yes.
And that needs to be addressed very seriously, is corrupt practices on our roads.
Okay.
Law enforcement, those who are enforcing traffic, are not going to the road to enforce the law. They go to collect illegal revenues for themselves. That's given. It's so obvious. It's so visible. We see these things every day on our roads. Today, a driver is flagged down. He's coming from maybe Kisumu to Nairobi. What does the traffic policeman do? Just to go and pick a license, pretend he's trying to sort this license and removing the money that has been put in, and without even checking whether the vehicle is compliant. You know, completely, they have abdicated their responsibilities for, not failing to enforce the law. It's very saddening that you'll find vehicles operating, you know what is happening is that right now the road is free for all. You'll find vehicles which are not licensed to carry passengers, which is allowed to, the law allows it to go 100 because they're personal vehicles, to go at 100 kilometers per hour, competing with a vehicle which is licensed and paying taxes, and only given 80 kilometers per hour to travel. The two competing. I'm talking about the Sientas, I'm talking about the Probox, and I'm talking about the Voxes, vehicles which are operating illegally. This is all in the name of collecting money. I have always given statistics on kind of money that we lose. And it's not like Matatu people would want to give it out. It's, one, it's a culture. Number two, it's a structured way of extorting money from public transport. When this happens, people would run away from compliance because you don't check tires, you don't check what this vehicle is compliant in any way. So the biggest impediment on road safety is corruption.
Okay, hold that thought. The IG, Inspector General Mutiabai, talked about getting rid of roadblocks for good. Do you think it is going to...
No, he didn't say. Let me quote him. He talked of reducing roadblocks by 50%.
By 50%.
We've not seen it. From here to Nakuru, you'll get 12 static points where traffic policemen flag down vehicles, 12 of them. And they are not interested in enforcing road safety rules.
Perhaps it's a process. It's going to take...
well, we don't know. Maybe we are still waiting. We have not complained. It's only that I have reacted to what you've said. And we hope he's going to take this seriously. Because when our roads are not safe and claiming this kind of lives, then it's upon traffic law enforcement. We would want to help him and show him that this is the best way to do it.
Yes.
By even, we had recommended that let there be patrols as opposed to having static positions, on traffic checks, so that there can be effectiveness in enforcing the law. But for now, I tell you, honestly, there is no law enforcement on traffic issues on our roads.
So basically, the buck stops with us and also with the government.
Yes. What I would say is also, we've embarked on a campaign to tell our people they don't have to bribe.
Okay.
In fact, I'm waiting for a day that will say no Matatu should give a single cent. If you're arrested, take all vehicles to where they want to be taken. Because we know very well that there are trumped up charges when you don't pay this. And nobody would want just to dish out money.
Yes.
Public transport operators, they put their vehicles on the road for the purposes of getting revenues as returns to their investments. So I don't think they would be mad, but what we would say is that I think corruption needs to be dealt with by all of us. I want even to tell those passengers traveling in these vehicles, they have technology, they have phones, smartphones. They can take pictures of what's happening. Let's post this in social media.
Yes.
Let's name and shame them.
Yes.
That is a way that can help us reduce on this evil that is actually everywhere today.
I think the road carnage and the road safety talk is quite broad. Let's switch gears with the bus rapid transit. Uganda has tried it partly, Tanzania and Rwanda are currently doing it. Are we going to be able to do it here in Nairobi? And first of all, being the chairman of the Road Safety Authority and you being the chairman of the Matatu Owners Association, have you been involved?
Yeah, let me put it this way. A task force has been formed, and all associations and representatives of public transport operators have been co-opted into this task force.
Yes.
And they are in a conversation to see how it can be implemented and to see how it can be structured in a way that public transport operators are never thrown out, that they would be investors in this. This, initially, it had, there's been a lot of talk about it. And there's been a lot of talk about, maybe having other investors to come in, to come and operate this. No. As a person who sits at the task force now, I can tell you that, of course, this is development. This is a practice that is all over the world in successful economies.
Yes.
So it's something that would take a bit of time, but it's going to come. Yeah. And when it comes, we are going to be the investors in it. Every association that represents public transporters are involved in it, and they are educating their members on its coming. Okay. Let me talk a bit about BRT. BRT is an infrastructure issue and systems. And earlier on, there was marking of those red lips. Yes. You call it lipstick, or whatever you'd have called it. And we haven't gotten there yet. I think somebody was putting
the groundwork.
He was putting a cart before a horse. So I have said this several times, but now it's not coming tomorrow. People are saying they're in Mombasa. There was only one demo bus that was put in, and we have urged the government to ensure that the local manufacturers are the one to have this. And we look for the best in terms of pricing. So it's nothing that will start tomorrow. It's coming, but it cannot start tomorrow.
Have you been involved?
I'm very well, I am aware of everything.
Yes.
But what I say, and I keep on repeating, is the best what we can have if we have BRT here. But I still insist that I'm 100% sure most of the stakeholders, those investors, most of them will be thrown out. Because, and I want to tell you, it was just the other day, the CS said there are buses which were coming. Where did he get that from? Who was owning those buses? We have still some gray areas which are not properly, which is not properly addressed. Because if they are going to bring the BRT, it is a good idea and it's the best idea. But if they call the investors, let the investors who are there, who do this business, be properly involved. Let them bring those vehicles. Not like now we could hear stories that they are coming, I don't know, from South Africa, from where, and we have manufacturers here. You see, we have people who are saying they are competent, they can manufacture those vehicles. We are shouting here, buy Kenya, build Kenya. And then we hear that they are bringing buses from outside. Who are the owners of these buses which are coming from outside? So this thing must be very clear. And I want to tell you that most of these associations which have been involved, most of them, their leaders are the ones who will be involved in that thing, bringing the buses. Forgetting that they have the investors themselves who should be involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I can respond to that.
Yes.
I can respond to that because I'm an operator and I'm a stakeholder. Apparently, my friend is not a stakeholder in it. He's just a spectator and has a right to make any comments. There is nobody in the task force who is buying to come and operate. The government has put in a structure that even public participation is going to happen. There's been a lot of talk. This talk does not have any, I would say, substance in terms of...
There's some buses we saw on the social media.
Social media, let me tell you, it was only one bus, there is only one bus that has come to Mombasa.
Yes.
I'm a stakeholder. I have buses myself. And when I have buses, I cannot tell you lies to kill my buses.
Sure.
I would be able to tell you what it is and the way it is. And we have all the associations that do represent public transport operators. We cannot say that the government can talk to all, but there's going to be a participation. There is a team that has been put aside to get involved and be able to sensitize our members by calling them and giving them the right information.
Okay.
There is no way an operator would want to strangle themselves out of business. What we are there is to ensure that the right things are done and things that it's the government, the first person who was bringing in, who is supposed to bring in. There's no contract which has been signed. Is the government. A company brought in a demo bus because it wants to have a contract to be able to supply these buses. I sit in a business and finance committee on the same. And I'm very particular in issues of ensuring that the right pricing is done because there can be a lot of exaggeration and manipulation. So there are people involved. It's a process. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next. It's going to take a lot of time. And there are no buses which have been brought. We have asked the same. We have gone to Mombasa and we have witnessed no buses at all. It's only one bus that was brought in by a company called Busmark to do what? To demonstrate that they can be able to do it. But otherwise, there's no contract which has been signed.
Okay, away from that, how is a common mwananchi, let's say I use Thika Road every day, going to benefit with the new system?
Bus rapid transit is about dedicated lanes. And I have made a recommendation that even Matatus now be allowed to operate when they segment the area for buses to go through. So that if you have your own vehicle, you're the only person to get stuck. But this bus rapid has its dedicated lane. A dedicated lane that will take you to town, there's no obstruction, and bring you back. So this is the biggest benefit because the man hours lost on traffic snarl-ups are so much, they're enormous. And there's so much wasted in terms of fuel, in terms of hours, and energy. So the benefit here is enormous. Because it's going to be, and even operators, this operates on a dedicated lane, while Matatu gives door-to-door service. And there is a program for affected people when it applies that particular corridor. And we see it positive, and I think it is important also to realize that a country has to develop.
Okay. As we wind up in 10 seconds, what do you think the new system will help in road safety?
It will really help.
Yes.
It will really help. If whatever we see, the plan is going to work, because the problem we have in this country is pure corruption. And this corruption is not with our governors, not our leaders. It is even within ourselves. And that is why I was trying to say, because you could remember there was a story which was coming about 14-seaters being removed from the city. You see, and they just want them to go. And it's a discussion we had discussed earlier that you stop bringing the 14-seaters, automatically they will phase out. But somebody somewhere seated in an office made sure that these vehicles keep on coming. And then you want to tell those people who have brought the vehicle, don't operate your vehicle. So if they don't use the same tactics of corruption and making sure that it's a few people who are going to benefit in this, but make sure that it is the investors who are investing in the Matatu industry who are given the first priority or the first chance. Then it will work. And it will, in fact, when you come to road safety, it will really assist. Not about even road safety. Even me, myself, there's no need of coming with my car. If the transport is that fine, I will leave my car somewhere, I will come to work, and then take the bus again, take me home. But now you find all these vehicles, we are on the road because our transport system is dead, is not there.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. We are pressed for time, but thank you. Transport at the end of the day begins with you and me, and also ends with you and me. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. But Alan Oko is coming up next with business.